What's up, movers? My name is Lacey. Welcome to Move with Intention, the podcast where we come together to get intentional about what it is that we are creating, who we are as people, share stories, and connect so that we can truly enjoy each and every step of our journey. I'm super excited because today we're going to be talking about that journey. We're going to be talking specifically about experiences and connecting, getting those stories shared. But before we get started, I want to do something that we always do at the beginning of my podcast, which is get grateful, really focus in on that gratitude energy, and then also declare our power statement so that we can be aligned with the people that we want to become, because we're on a quest to be the best over here. So before we get started, guys, think for just a second, 3 things, 3 people, 3 experiences, 3 situations, something that you created. What are you grateful for? How can you tune into that gratitude and just really feel it at your core, feel it in the center of your being? It's so important not only to say, I'm thankful for him, I'm thankful for her, I'm thankful for eggs, which I am. I'm thankful for the experience, the education, the travel, whatever you just did in life, or that you are going to be doing, the people you're surrounded by, but to bring those feelings within and really charge yourself up with them, because when you feel grateful for someone, something, you have love, there's an abundance of joy, and when you bring those feelings within, then those lie within you, and there's no room for the negativity or the dark space that you're going through will be lightened up by that gratitude. There's definitely a tool in gratitude if you use it in this way. So go ahead and think of your 3 things, 3 people, you know the drill. I'm gonna start first, and I do this on the fly for a reason. I don't plan this out, and you guys, if you know me, then you know that I am a planner. I love to plan things, but I don't plan a lot of these podcasts. I just go by my intuition, by my gut, and I speak from the heart. I speak on the fly of my pants, and sometimes the greatest of things comes out of those situations that are not planned, because there's all the space for the magic to unfold. So my 3 today, while you are thinking of yours, and like I always say it out loud. There's a power that comes with saying and declaring things aloud, or write it down, have a conversation with me about it, a conversation with your friends, with your family, whoever. But my 3 today are conversations with people that are not easy. Every time you have a conversation with someone that is not an easy one to have, there's always a lesson to learn, and there's growth on the other side of that difficult conversation or difficult situation. And that's something to be grateful for, because if not, there would be no expansion, there would be no other perspectives out there in the world. So that's why we can always tune into that gratitude and gain wisdom from whatever heart is going on. My second one would be the holidays and the chaos that those bring, because when things are chaotic and we are at our stretching point, our burning, our exploding points, we think we cannot possibly withstand anymore. We cannot possibly get through this. Things are hitting the roof. I mean, I think one of my friends last week posted, shit hit the fan. And when that happens, that is a full moment that you got to take a step back. It's an opportunity to step back and think, okay, how am I reacting? How am I handling the situation? Does this serve me? Whatever's not serving me, let me let it go, and let me step into my power. Let me ask for help. Let me confide in others. Let me take a deep breath and just really tune in to my intention. What am I trying to do here? How am I going to get through this? Because I can get through this. You can get through whatever chaos is thrown your way. And I know there is no shortage of chaos during the holidays. So be grateful that you get to be in your power and choose your reactions to all the chaos consuming your life or that's around you, especially during the holidays. Number 3, I would say, is music, guys. Music is medicine. Just like movement to me is medicine, music is that medicine as well. It drives creativity. It drives my movement. And if you've done any of my programs before, I mean, every single movement that we do is synchronized to the music for a reason, because of the different RPMs and the way that the music can just like touch your soul. For me, music sets me free. It shifts my mood. It changes my perspective when sometimes words just don't have that possibility. And that's like that's a state of stuck on my own behalf. But like music always gets through to me. And I know that because it can be a very sentimental moment. And I can be teary-eyed and thinking like, whoa, this is insane. And then all of a sudden, somebody puts the music on and it's like they're playing my heartstrings. They did it on purpose and I am just bawling. So it's interesting that music has that effect. I don't know if anyone can resonate with this, but if you do, please give me a shout out. I don't know if it's just me. Music touches my soul. So guys, think of your three. Think of your three. They can be super simple, super short. They can be long, extravagant. I don't care whatever it is, as long as you hone in on that gratitude energy. Write it down, say it out loud. Think about it, reflect on it during your day. Second part. What is your power statement? What defines your I am statement at this moment in your life right now? For me, I am grounded. I am grounded, which to me means that I know what my intentions are. I'm taking the steps in the right direction, whether they're small, whether they're big, whether they're happening quickly or they're very, very slow. I am progressing each and every day. And the only time that I stop and I look back is when I'm reflecting on the gratitude that's gotten me to where I am today. And so that's my power statement today, okay? I am grounded and I take progressive steps to expand forward. That's my action statement, because when I have an action statement, when we have a power statement and an action statement, then we know who we are being and we have a clear, concise phrase that helps us in decision making during the day, during the week, during whatever comes up in our life. So go ahead and think of yours right now. You can say it aloud, you can write it down, you can think about it. If you're stuck on this, reach out to me. I think that this has been super empowering for myself during the last year and a half of my transformative experience out here. So really try to connect to yours, and like I usually say, that can change and it should change because we're always evolving, things are always progressing. But speaking of progression, we're going to dive right into today's episode, and that is about experience. And each experience gives us that opportunity to gain perspective, to progress, to expand, to evolve as the humans that we are. And so I just want to show a little bit of gratitude for every single experience that I have taken in my life. And I know there will be 100 million more, because for me, I don't know if anyone resonates with this, but for me, the most important thing that we can invest in, that we can take risks on, that we can prioritize is experiences, our experiences. And the reason that I feel this strongly about experiences are because experiences have that power to connect you to yourself, to connect you to others, to see other perspectives, to hear others' stories, which may shed light on what you are going through or your own journey, and give you that much more strength, that much more wisdom, leverage over a situation, ability to navigate yourself out of a dark area or a dark situation in your life so that you yourself can be in your own power and find that light. And so a couple examples, and this is tracing way back in the day, like way back in the day when I was in high school in the little rural area of Pennsylvania where I grew up. There was a trip offered by EF Tours. EF Tours is an organization that will always have a huge spot in my heart because they came to little rural Elk Lake, PA, where I grew up, and offered a trip to, I guess the high schoolers, the 11th and the 12th graders, I want to say it was. And they offered this trip for 2 weeks to Europe, and there was, in my eyes, I was going. I don't know how I was going because my family didn't have the money to do so. I didn't grow up having money. I had a lot of experience with, working extra jobs and saving up for this, saving up for that, which definitely translated into my adult life. I feel like if you know me, then you know what I'm talking about. Always having like a job, but then like maybe 4 or 5 side hustles going on at the same time because I wanted to be able to pay for experiences. And this experience, to be exact, going overseas for the first time in my life at 17 years old with EF Tours and my peers and a couple of really awesome teachers that went with us, that changed my life. Changed my life. And I'm not saying that you got to go right now and travel and explore the world because that's going to change your life, but I'm not saying that it won't either. So when there's an opportunity, sometimes you really got to do your digging, do your research, find a way, because there's always a possibility, and ask yourself, how much does it mean to you? What do you think this experience is going to provide to you? And for me, I just had this gut feeling that I was going to be on that trip one way or another. And so got the money. Thank you so much to my family. Seriously, huge shout out. My mom and my dad and my grandparents got me so excited and in my vision of going that it happened. And having that experience abroad was just the start of my journey, and that curiosity inside of me just kind of sparked. And I think as adults, if you can hold on to that curiosity, that inner curiosity that we have, especially from when we were children, it's going to allow so many exciting experiences to come into your life. And those are the experiences that are going to set you apart, that you're going to learn from, that you're going to be stretched from, that you're going to have breakdowns and breakthroughs from. You're going to be surrounded by the people that you need to be surrounded by, whether it comes quick or it is a long journey. But you're going to be able to find yourself in those experiences. And that is just something, I'm not putting down material items whatsoever, but that's just something in my heart and in my experience that material items cannot bring. I mean, there's nothing wrong with working and buying something, working and getting that status on whatever the project is, your job, any of the above, but those things tend to fade with time. The new car is only new for so long until there's another new model, and that car that you owned is old. I mean, everything, as soon as you take it off the lot, for a car example, it depreciates, right? And material items, material things, the consumer world that we live in right now, like that can bring you joy. It can be a guide. It can navigate you to that next step that's going to get you, expanding and growing and learning. But at the end of the day, it does not compare to experiences, because experiences involve yourself and experiences create connection. And you guys know how passionate I am about connection. Something that we talk about often on this podcast is the connection that we take the time, that we prioritize to connect within ourselves, that connection with ourselves. That's the self-appreciation, that's self-love, that's reflection. Remember, reflection is connection. And I'm sitting here, I'm having this conversation with you all right now, and I feel like the message just comes from, I don't even know where it comes from, but it just comes pouring out, because these are things that I have learned and that I have lived and that I want to be able to share, because they have gotten me to where I am today. And I'm taking no value away from school. I claim to be a student for life. I believe the more we can learn, the more powerful we can be, because knowledge is power, and being able to connect with people is also a similar type of power in my eyes, because someone else's experience might be told to you in a story that sheds light on something that you go through 10 years down the road and you don't even know it yet. That's the beauty of experience. That's the beauty of having those experiences that connect you to others, connects you to yourself. It gives you the possibility to hear other people's stories, other people's experiences, other people's successes and failures, and all the in between that goes along with that. And so going abroad, those 2 weeks with my peers as a high schooler really opened up my eyes to wow, we live in this massive world that is full of possibilities and experiences to be had. I will not miss out on this. I didn't know how, but I was going to find a way to get back over there to Europe, because what I saw was the quality of life. And if you've ever, been on TikTok and looked at different places in Europe, or even other places in the world for that matter, there's a giant difference between the work-life culture of Europeans to Americans. And as an American, I have definitely adopted that obsession, that hustle culture, that independence, that I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to work to get to my, best self, or all the way to the top. And sometimes it's about the title, sometimes it's about the status, sometimes it's about saving up that money for retirement. But in my eyes, especially being exposed to Europe at such a young age, I saw that it was a choice. It's always a choice. Everything that we do is a choice, no matter the circumstance, no matter the money, no matter what's going on internally, externally. It's a choice. At the end of the day, everything is. And I saw these people choosing to take a break during their day, sit on a bench in the middle of the park, and just have a conversation. And I'm looking at my clock. Didn't have one on my wrist today, but I had a watch on, I'm sure, because cell phones, I don't even know if I had one. Maybe it was a flip phone at that point. Probably one of those BlackBerry. I think I had a BlackBerry. If you guys know what that is, all right. If you don't, then I might be aging myself, but I think I had a BlackBerry. It was a pink one, not black. Anyway, I remember looking at my watch or clock, and I'm like, it's 2 in the afternoon or 1 in the afternoon. How can these people be done with work already? There's no way. And then that's when I learned that in many European countries, there is a lunch break that gives parents time to pick their kids up from school, because they'll end around 2 o'clock. Maybe if they stay for extra school activities, it's 3, 4, 5 o'clock, around that time span. But there was time to go home, to pick up the kids, to make lunch, to have a nap. Siesta is a thing. And that was just beautiful to me, because I thought to myself, wow, they work, okay? They do work. You might not believe me, but they work. And there is also that prioritizing of family, of friends, of experience. And that experience brings them connection. And the connection brings them fulfillment. And so ever since I saw that as a really young, like 17, 18-year-old, I adopted that into my life. And of course, along the journey, I speak for myself, not we, but I lost myself a lot of different times because I had those 4 or 5 jobs at the same time, while studying, while teaching, while instructing fitness classes, wellness classes. And so you lose the sense of, wait a second, I am prioritizing my connections and prioritizing my experience. And right now my experience is chaotic. I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm exhausted all the time. Like, where is this balance? And I don't believe personally in the word balance. I think each of us has to, throughout the journey, find our own definition of balance, because it's going to look different for everyone. We're all different people. We can't just buy a $7 guide online and follow the math and find that balance, or create the perfect morning routine, sell it online and tell everyone, if you do A, B, and C, you're going to be the most balanced person around. No, it depends on each and every one of us individually, our perspective, our commitment, our responsibility, what's going on around us, what's going on inside of us, most importantly, internally, what are the conversations that we are having with ourselves. And so I think balance has to be an individual journey as well. But having those experiences and those connections early on, prioritize the word connection for me. And so something that you cannot gain in a material item, for example, when you buy a car, when you buy yourself a new bag, when you go and treat yourself to a pedicure, I mean, perhaps a pedicure, because maybe you meet the nicest person in the salon and you build that connection, but there is not the same type of value as sharing stories, connecting with others. And I think that having those experiences in life they are worth investing in, because they allow you to expand, to grow, to view things from different angles, and that is priceless. You can't put a price on that. And so having experience traveling for me really set it apart. And then a lot of different other experiences. I think I wrote it down here because I was like, there are so many experiences that I've had at my young age, even if I did age myself earlier on the BlackBerry comment, okay, stay with me. I am so grateful for these experiences that I've gotten to have during my life so far. And I will always be an advocate for taking those risks and having those experiences. Of course, you want to do your research and know your financial restraints and limitations before you embark on something that's, life-changing, but also taking those risks, creating those connections. That's not the easiest thing to do and not the most comfortable of things to do, stretches you and allows you to step into your higher self. And I think that that is priceless. You cannot buy that in a retail store, not even close. You can't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So a couple of things that I wanted to share about experiences are that experiences, they'll come and go. You can take them or you can leave them. What you usually put forth is what you get out, okay, right? If you embark on a journey, you're in a leadership program, you're traveling the world, but you keep closed up. You stay to yourself, you try nothing new, you don't let others enter or come inside of your little bubble of your world, then you're gonna get a different experience than someone that goes into an experience being open. If you're an open person, meaning that you are receptive to others, find the good in situations, right? Whatever we focus on expands. So if something goes wrong during the experience, if we focus on that, it's going to expand. And I'm speaking in general here, but when we have those experiences, we have the possibility to grow, to strengthen communication. And if you have a strong sense of communication and how you can word what your message is to someone else, having that capability, it's a strength, it's a superpower. If you can communicate to others and yourself what it is that your intention is, what it is that you're trying to create, who it is you're trying to be, that's going to get you so far. And so communication is a huge part of those experiences, because a lot of time experience is with yourself and it's with other people, which forces you to have those difficult conversations. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, something that I am grateful for right now, especially, is being able to have those hard conversations because I'm grateful for what's to come on the other side. There might be no light where I am right now, and I open up the conversation that is a difficult one that brings in even more darkness, but I know that with being the person that's able to communicate and come from love, that I'm gonna be able to get over any barrier that is keeping me down and in the darkness, and I'm gonna be able to find the light that sheds into my situation and maybe into other situations also, and really find a new perspective, find inner peace, find growth, find strength, find whatever you want to call it, because it's going to be dependent on each of our journey. It's going to be different for each and every one of us. But just know that when you're going through a hard time, if you can find the gratitude in those difficult conversations, your communication is going to expand. You as a person, you are going to expand. And what you find on the other side as a person, you are going to be so much stronger in the long run. Life is always an interesting concept, and especially experiences, because it's a choice, right? We have the choice to go on these experiences. And something that I wanted to touch on was the choice of going back to Europe after that exposure at 17 years old every single summer until I manifested. I swear to God, I realized this just a couple weeks ago, that I manifested from my hard work, from my energy, from believing that this was going to be part of my life, work experience in Italy, which is very difficult to find. I mean, I heard from professors that this was going to be impossible. Lacey, Italians can't find work in Italy. How are you going to find work in Italy? And by the grace of God and hard work and that determination to get there and live there, I made it happen, along with my university, along with my professor of Italian, along with my family, my friends believing in me believing in me, and that's huge. And so me and my best friend, we deliberately and intentively chose each summer to go to Europe in between our college experience together, which was incredible. Going to college with your best friend, wow. That's an experience right there that is priceless. You know, my dad might say otherwise, and my loans might say otherwise right now, but that experience was priceless. And that didn't end up being something that we decided to do together. It just kind of happened. And I think that happened for us, that happened for each of us separately in our own lives, and that happened for a huge reason. And we got to celebrate one of those reasons actually recently, because my best friend got married to her best friend, and they got to meet in college where I went, and then she transferred to. And it's just a beautiful, magical story, but that is all revolving around an experience and a risk that she decided to take, she chose to take, that ended up creating this amazing thing for her now husband and their life together. So the choice for me and my best friend Brooke to go to Europe every single summer and work, it wasn't an easy choice. It wasn't a choice that friends and family necessarily were on board with, especially as young girls. We were probably 19, I think it was the years of 19, 20, 21, and then 22. So I think we had like 3 or 4 summers of going over there, and we worked, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the program Workaway. We worked through Workaway as English teachers at camps. We ended up traveling around Europe as a whole. We made friends, we visited those friends, we took risks, and we made those connections that went from strangers and became friends. And, you know, of course, with caution, I'm not saying that you got to go out there and start talking to strangers and trust everyone you meet, but when you're doing something with the intention of discovering the world around you and enjoying the experience and connecting to others and sharing your stories and listening to their stories, there's a beautiful thing that happens within you and within the people that are involved, and that's from experience and that's from connecting. And so me and Brooke got so connected with Europe as a whole that, like I mentioned before, on my senior year at my university in New York, I got a phone call after applying and getting my university to sign off and become an affiliate with the program when they weren't even connected in the first place. And I got a phone call probably the last month before I was about to graduate, start my last internship and be done as a college student, that I was accepted and I was going to be going to live in Italy. And I was like weeping. I was weeping, and I was so excited because I knew that this was going to be an investment. No, I wasn't going to be making much money, and I was going to have to pay for my apartment over there. I was going to have to pay for my flight to and from, the visa situation. But I said, you know, I don't work these 3-4 jobs for nothing. this is an experience, this is an investment in myself, and this is going to get me to where I want to be. This is going to create the person that I want to become. It's only steps forward, even if they're baby steps. For me, this was a huge step. It was a stretch and a half. But these experiences in life that are presented to us, they can stretch us. They can create so many possibilities. They can connect us to ourselves, to our intentions, to others around us. And so that's why I'm a huge advocate for investing in experiences. If something comes up and it seems impossible for you, if you see a lot of growth in the possibility, but you see a lot of limitations, it's a good idea to take a second, write your pros and cons list, see how you might be able to make this possible. And if you don't see how you can make it possible, but you know that it would be beneficial, getting in contact with a coach or someone that can help you see those avenues that you are not able to see is so helpful and gives you a lot of perspective, and also puts you in your power because it holds you accountable. When you reach out for help, that holds you accountable because you know there's a will, there's a way. You just don't know how you're going to get there. And there's always a way. So getting that coaching, getting that support, reaching out for help is not a weakness. I learned that over the last week, especially being on a team right now, raising money for kids during the holidays. I realized that when something isn't going according to plan, the experience that I want to have isn't, like, it's not playing out how I intended it to go. Of course, that's how life is. Life doesn't go the way that we always intend it to go or how we plan it out to go. But when you reach out for that help to connect yourself to your intention, to the experience, you're able to see different avenues. You're able to see different perspectives, different angles that are going to get you to where you want to go. So this is going to have to be part 1 out of part 2 because perspective on experience for me has been one of the most expansive parts of my journey so far, and I believe it's going to be one of those that just keeps on giving and giving and giving. And so I'm not saying to go out there and buy and do and spend money on every single experience that comes your way, but really know yourself, know what your intentions are, know who it is that you want to be, what you want to create, and how these experiences are going to help you get there. And the people that you may meet on the way, they could have the biggest impact of all, and you won't get those people by buying a bag at the store. You might meet an amazing clerk in the store because those exist. And I've had a couple of amazing interactions with people going into different stores and just opening up a conversation, but that in itself is an experience. So be open to having experiences. Be open to starting conversations, whether they're easy or difficult, because it's going to only help you at the end of the day. It's going to help the other people on the end of the day. Sharing stories, sharing experiences, sharing different parts of each of our journeys only allows for light to be shed on perspective, and a whole lot of love and connection, which I can't even predict. No one can predict where those connections might take you. And piece by piece, I think that you guys, and myself included, we will all start to recognize how each of our experiences play in to who we are now and what we are creating for the futures to come. And so for me, experiential learning is the number 1 for investing. And you can actually tune in to Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. I want to say that. I'll link it in the notes just to make sure that I'm correct. But Die with Zero is a book that I'm reading right now, and he speaks on experiences himself. And he talks about missing out on a trip to Europe with his roommate from Manhattan at the time. And I thought of myself because I didn't miss out on that experience. And maybe you can relate with something else. Maybe you went to school and you didn't have that support from family to go to school or to study what it is that you were passionate about. But taking those leaps of faith and trusting your intuition, researching, getting that information, especially if you like to have data in front of you to see, okay, how much is it going to cost me? Where is this going to put me financially or mentally after? Is this going to be serving me or taking away from me? Having that kind of information and data is important. And you have to know yourself well enough to know what is worth it to take the time to do, to learn, to reflect on in order to take the next steps towards the experiences that you want. But also prioritizing what you feel in your gut, what you feel in your heart, because that's the kind of person that I am. I'm a real energy person. I go with my gut, and it's gotten me to where I am today, along with researching programs and researching the different experiences that I've had, of course, taking into account finances, working those extra jobs to make my dreams happen and to make experiences happen, because experiences have elevated my life so much more than any material item ever could. And so I just place a huge value on those experiences. And I think the more experiences that we get to have during this life, because, okay, there's a start and there's an end of our life, but what do we want to create in between those lines? It's all up to us. Those choices that we make are up to us the experiences that we have, the experiences that we equally create, it's up to us. And I think that's super powerful. It's eye-opening. It gives you urgency, but not panic. It gives you urgency to live a life that brings you connection, communication, community, love, light, positivity, and it kind of takes you out of that mindset of, no, it's not possible. I don't see a way out of this. I don't see how I'm going to get to A, B, or C, because the more people that you meet, the more opportunities you have to connect to their stories, for them to connect to you, for bridges to be joined together, for walls to be knocked down. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the journey. It's part of the experience. And I think if we move forward with intention in those experiences, we're going to get so much out of life. And so this is just part one. I'm going to keep going in with this conversation. I want to know what you think about experiences, what you think about connecting with others, hearing their stories, getting new perspectives on things. But I hope that you guys found this episode useful today. If you want to take a portion of it and send me a message, leave a comment below. If you're on YouTube or Spotify, you can totally do that. It might encourage someone else to give this a listen, and it might shed a little bit of light on their situation. But it's been a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you for having this conversation with me. As always, I am grateful, and I send you all my love from all around the world, because you never know where I'm going to be next. I can't wait to keep moving with intention with you all, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Mwah.